Okay. Do I do this?
What? Oh, sorry. I thought we were taking a break, but apparently I was wrong there. So, welcome. Back from that non-existent break. Thank you all for joining us. This is my first time in the booth this season for an actual game, and I'm excited to share it with you, Gallium. Um, and I haven't watched a single game all season. I don't know who's good and who's bad. So if you could, fill me out on these two teams.
Yeah, we have the Dragons taking on the Grandmasters, and even though this doesn't look like much of a matchup on paper, this is actually a pretty big matchup for one of these two teams, and that team is going to be the Dragons, who are 6-8, hoping to maybe sneak in with a play-in spot here, and against the Grandmasters, who are 3-11. They're looking for a pretty easy win come tonight, but I don't think the Grandmasters have that in their plan.
Yeah, on paper, Grandmasters have the edge just because they're the only team here tonight playing that has a player above 1800. Dragons kind of got clowned on for picking all 1700s, but it's working. They're the ones that are in position to make the postseason, whereas Grandmasters, they went with a more serious approach, and it just hasn't worked out so far.
Yeah, you know, whatever works works. For the Dragons, it is definitely working for them. And honestly, with these two teams, I'm just gonna go over their rosters real quick. For the Dragons, they have Vulcan, Burr, Mayo, and Glow. And for the Grandmasters, they have Luxury, Shadow, and GBE. So actually, the only two names that I know on either rosters are Mayo and Luxury. The others are kind of foreign to me right now. But I'm excited to learn more about these names as this match progresses.
Yeah, so in the Dragons, Vulcan, Mayo, and Glow, all like staples of the rival league last season. Very impressive players in their own right, and the fact that they can come and compete in Titan League is crazy and just shows you just how talented Nemesis is as a whole. People going up and down, being able to compete no matter where they're at is impressive. And then Grandmasters, I know Luxury has hit some insane clips. I think he's been nominated and possibly even won clip of the season. I think that was in season 4 or 5. He hit this amazing shot where he just like off the ceiling flip reset, double tap. It was insane. And Gabe, I've heard a lot of hype around him, so hopefully he shows up and pops off too, because I think he could be the X factor there for Grandmasters.
Yeah, definitely. Both of those players are very notable up in the Titan League, especially Luxury. I see him in a bunch of clips. I've seen a bunch of people clipping his shots, and I think he's in contention for Player of the Week a couple of times. So Grandmasters definitely have a good player on their side, and I believe last week, or last game rather, they beat Crip's team, the Spartans. So they're, even though they're 3-11, they're coming off a win, and I expect them to feel semi hot against this Dragon.
Yeah, and they say that the worst team you can play against is a team with nothing else to lose, and the Grandmasters are sitting in that eliminated spot at 3-11. There's no way they could make play-ins. There's no way they can make playoffs. So they have nothing else to lose. So they're gonna come out here. They're gonna play. They're not gonna play stiff. They're gonna be relaxed. They're gonna be chill, and they're just gonna make plays happen. And I'm excited to see that. Whereas Dragons, on the other hand, they might come out stiff because they're sitting at 6-8. They're in the playoff position, but just barely. They don't want to fall into play. They don't want to fall into the play-ins or out of that playoff position. So they need this win here tonight. And Grandmasters, even though they're 3-11, not going to make it easy.
Yeah, and I think the Dragons needing that play-in spot is going to make them play, as you said, a little more stiff. And I think this game one is, in my opinion, going to go to the Grandmasters because the Dragons are going to be very nervous. They're going to make a lot of mistakes. And honestly, I'm just really hoping they prove me wrong here. And the Grandmasters, as you said, they have nothing to lose. So you can go out there and play however you play. It doesn't affect how the making it into playoffs, it does affect how the rest of your season goes. Because if you have a nice end of the season, it could have some implications going into the next season. And so I honestly, I don't think you want to lose this game regardless if you can make the playoffs or not. I think the Grandmasters are going to come out here and honestly prove a lot of people wrong, prove to people why they should have made playoffs even though they're 3-11.
Yeah, the only reason I could think that you would want to lose this game is for a draft pick uh, next season, but with the draft lottery, that's still not guaranteed. Whether they win this one or lose this one, they still have the same draft odds as the 0-14 Spartans, who also has their own first round pick. So, um, win or lose, Grandmasters gonna be okay, just because they are guaranteeing themselves a good draft pick, and anytime that you can play spoiler is always going to be fun.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be so much fun. And as these players are joining the lobby, I know it's usually how it goes is the play-by-play asks color for predictions, but I'm gonna ask you for predictions this time, Squirrel, because I think you know a little bit more about Titan League than I do. So I'm just gonna ask you, who do you think's taking this series, and honestly, in particular, who do you think's gonna take this game one?
Um, that's a great question. Coming from the guy who hasn't watched a single series all season, um, I love Mayo, one of my favorite people, the Pepe guy himself. Vulcan, solid guy. Greenglow carried Rockerman to a chip. It's okay. Burr, I've heard great things about Burr, but when you have a team full of 1700s, really 1750s, in the Titan League, I don't see it working out well in the long run, and I think Grandmasters are going to take it. I think it's going to be 3-2, just because the Dragons have impressed. I do think they can take this one, push it all the way to Game 5, but on paper, Grandmasters just look better.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's come to a lot of people's surprises that you picked the Grandmasters, but honestly, I'm not surprised. I'm going Grandmasters in 4, and as these players are finally joining up, I'm just so ready for some Nemesis action and to be back on this Monday night. And, I'm just glad to be here with you, Squirrel.
Absolutely, as this first kickoff goes heavily in favor of the Dragons. Vulcan off the ceiling, gets a good 50, but Shadow there to send that one away. Glow can't quite put it to the middle. Mayo sends it up, but Hypnotic reads that one pretty well. Vulcan opting to control this. Gets bumped for his efforts though, as Mayo, an awkward touch into the Grandmaster's corner. The ball up. Gringo shoots. Luxury sends that one away. Early pressure here in favor of the Dragons. But can that hold, Gallium?
Honestly, 2 shots and a third one coming out here. Oh, that almost slipped in. But 3 shots this early in the game. It might bite you in the butt, and it just did there as Hypnotic slots one for the early 1-0 lead.
Did Hypnotic slot it, or did he just save a shot and Greenglow slotted it as, an unfortunate own goal coming out from the 1700s, as they're going to have to clean that one up if they want to beat this Grandmasters team.
Yeah, and as we were mentioning before the game, that little stiffness that you were mentioning and the nervousness, obviously this is a stream game, so the Dragons are going to be a little nervous, and you just saw it there as Glow. I don't think that was the touch he meant to put in, and he ended up putting it in the back of his own net, so a little bit unfortunate there, but honestly, up 1-0, this Grandmasters team does not look like they should have the lead right now.
Absolutely, as Mayo takes this ball right into the hands of Hypnotic. Vulcan sends it to the corner, gets it past 2 of them, gets a good 50 downfield. Can he take a shot? He does, but Shadow sends that one away. Glow with a mistouch to the middle of the field. Luxury with space, but Mayo, rival league MVP and finals MVP, couldn't quite get the touch as Shadow buries that bouncing ball right in front of his net.
Yeah, I was saying earlier, I don't know how they have the lead, but now I do know. Great team play coming out from Hypnotic and Shadow, really making a lot of space, and Shadow going to slot that one for the second Grandmasters goal. And this Grandmasters team is coming out a little hot here, Squirrel.
Yeah, they are, and that's to be expected when this is the Titan League. Anyone can beat anyone on any given day. It just depends on who shows up ready to play, and the Grandmasters, they're sitting at 3-11. They have no chances, but they don't want to get embarrassed by that 1750 team. Gringlo trying to get mechanical there, but couldn't quite touch it. Vulcan gonna have to get a good clear here as he sends it to the wall. Shadow just waiting on him. And one thing I've noticed is that uh, the Dragons just sending this ball to the corner, and Grandmasters are ready for them every time.
Yeah, it seems like the counterattack for the Grandmasters is really going to be the key for this game. I've seen a lot of balls in the Grandmasters zone, and the Dragons are just, keep pelting them, and the Grandmasters get one lucky touch. Or maybe it's not luck. Maybe they just have really good clearance, and they're getting into the Dragon zone, and they're kind of really forcing the issue in these corners, and that's really going to be a key, especially later on in the series if the Grandmasters can keep up this pressure. And that flick says they can. Shadow, what a flick and what a goal.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure a team bump opened up space for Shadow and a beautiful catch and a perfect flick. Bar down and in. Mayo couldn't quite get to it, and someone check this man. He might be a bot.
Yeah, that is why he's an SSL tournament winner, and I am not. What an amazing flick. It really shows you the amount of skill that's just here in Titan League as a prospect player. This is, kind of new to me, seeing this high level of play and really analyzing it. But, as you get used to it, you just see these amazing plays going across the pitch, and this game isn't any different. You have a semi-bottom tier team versus one of the bottom tier teams, and it's still an amazing match to watch, and Luxury just demonstrating why.
Luxury with insane pop-off potential, and he shows it there as he fakes Mayo, making it look easy, and just takes that ball underneath him and in. He's hit some highlight shots in the past, and there goes one right there.
Yeah, this Dragons team looks like they have no response. Grandmasters are 4 for 4. 4 shots, 4 goals, making it look a little bit too easy, Squirrel.
Yeah, they might as well just change their name to Wendy's at this point, being 4 for 4. Another shot comes in. Glow sends that one away, and I want to point out, Gallium, that Mayo sitting at the bottom of the scoreboard with 70 points, 72 now with that touch, and you expect more out of the MVP last season.
Yeah, Mayo is one of those players that I was actually looking out for this Dragons team. He really popped off in the staff tournament over the break, and honestly, a player that I recognize from Six Mans as well. He's very present in the community, and honestly, a very fun player to watch. Mechanically, and his rotations are very clean and very smooth. So honestly, a little confused why we're not seeing a whole lot of him, but that could be the same reason that I brought up earlier. Maybe it's just stream nerves, because the first game is always the hardest, I feel like, for both teams. Then you just start to warm up, and then everything just feels easier. As Vulcan gonna take a shot, and Shadow just gonna deflect it away. Mayo, again, missing his touch a little bit, so I think Mayo's just struggling a little bit, but honestly, game one, it's practically over. You just, honestly, if you're the Dragons, you want to score a goal to gain some semblance of momentum going into game number 2.
And on the flip side, if you are the Grandmasters, you want to keep all that momentum, make a statement, try to sweep this Dragons team, and if they can make it a perfect sweep, that is going to just solidify it even more as Shadow buries one.
Shadow, what an incredible goal, pinching it off the wall. That's his teammate Luxury, and Shadow top left. Glow could not get to that in time. 5-0. This Grandmasters team, 8 shots, 5 goals. That's basically the story of this game so far.
Yeah, and this ball almost going in. I want to point out something you said about the. Oh, there it goes. Never mind. That's what I was going to talk about. How I was going to say, how can the Dragons get a goal, but Vulcan just slotting an easy one in?
I guess the answer to that question is bumps, as we see a bump go across, and I think GBE just joined, so we might see a substitution going out here. A little bit of a necessary substitution, as what a save by Mayo, and as the final seconds tick down, it is going to be a 5-1 victory, hopefully, for the Grandmasters if there's not another goal scored.
Yeah, that ball hitting the ground. Absolutely a one-sided affair there in favor of the Grandmasters. Shadow, 900 score, 3 goals, 5 saves on 5 shots. An absolute masterclass, putting up stats. Maybe he's pushing for a player of the week himself.
Yeah, and at only an MMR of 1746, definitely a very high value player. And honestly, if he doesn't peak too much higher in next season, could be a player looking out for potentially if the Grandmasters don't decide to keep him. So, Shadow shooting for that free agent, or rather, sorry, that player of the week spot going into next week. And honestly, if he keeps this up, I don't doubt that he'll get it.
Yeah, and you know, I'll even point out that Hypnotic played really well, and Hypnotic is a player for the Bishops, sitting at 1520 MMR. So if they can 5-1 with a I think Bishops is challenger, so with a
Yes.
challenger player like with Gabe coming in, I expect this gap to widen even more.
I didn't even notice that. That's probably a bad job on my part. But yeah, Hypnotic being on the Bishops, a very good challenger player. I remember him from last season casting some of his games. Honestly, a very solid player, and honestly, he held up very well. He actually gave his offense some speed and momentum, and honestly, he didn't look any different from a Titan player. And I think if anybody was tuning in for the first time, I don't think anybody could tell the difference.
Yeah, and it looks like we have some issues here. Is okay. Finally, everyone gets joined in. Uh, some players not quite being ready to play this one, but we're I uh,
Interesting
I ac-
stuff.
I accidentally joined the game, boys, but um, that's my fault. We regain. A little rusty here, but the people that aren't rusty are the ones on the pitch here. As Vulcan gets an early shot on net, Mayo a nice touch out. Glow can't quite get there. This ball up to Shadow. Shadow controlling it. Gabe a good third man rotation, far enough back. Glow looks like he's playing a little faster this time, as this ball in the corner of the Grandmaster sent away effortlessly. Glow up, Shadow off the ceiling, and if we were worried about any nervousness or lack of confidence from the Grandmasters, they're coming off the ceiling. They're getting mechanical. They are doing everything, Gallium.
Yeah, they are. And on the other side of the pitch, the Dragons are looking more comfortable as well, as we just see passing plays going out like that one there. And honestly, this is exactly what you want from this Dragons team. You want them to be more confident in their abilities. They need that play-in spot. Just honestly, how badly they want it is the question. I know they're a bunch of 1700s in Titan League, but honestly, I think this league has shown me that honestly, any team can beat any team on any given day, and it's all about grit and how badly you want it. And I guess GBE just wants it more.
Yeah, Gabe just luxury faking out Mayo. Green Glow in an awkward spot, and Gabe just sliding that one high. Can't quite reach it as they take an early lead. But honestly, I would say that the first minute and a half went a whole lot better than game one for the Dragons.
Yeah, honestly, it was looking pretty good for them, and a little bit surprised, like we were in game number one, surprised that the Grandmasters scored first, but game two a little dissimilar in the fact that the Grandmasters actually have some shots before they score, and not just a lucky bounce. So the Dragons down by one again in game number two. We'll see if they can regain here, Squirrel.
Yeah, and I would like to point out that it is Mayo's birthday, so happy birthday, Mayo. He might be a little inebriated, as he doesn't miss those, but it turned into a pass to Green Glow as he ties this one up.
Green Glow, an absolute banger of a pass right to Mayo and right back to Glow. He might be inebriated, but I think it might be enhancing his skills right now.
Maybe, as that was a spot-on pass. Their second goal of the series, and it's the most important one so far as they tie that one up. And Vulcan with a great pinch, Mayo almost off the backboard to make something happen. Shadow sends this one down to the wall. This one played back in. Vulcan, a good clear. Luxury, a nasty recovery. That ball bounces off to the middle. This ball shot on the bump comes out, and Shadow puts it in.
What a great goal from Shadow. Off the wall goes Luxury and right to Shadow. Honestly, my surprise player right now, and honestly, I didn't even notice that bump on Mayo, but that bump as well was absolute class coming out from Luxury. I think he honestly did it all there, but I just want to talk about Shadow for a second. A player who I didn't really think much of when I was thinking about this Grandmasters team, but a player that's really showing me something. I think he's a 1750, so he's right around the range of this whole Dragons roster, and honestly, a player I'm looking forward to watch more in the future.
Yeah, Shadow. If you didn't know him before, you'll definitely know him now. As 900 points last game. He's already got a goal this game. Looking to solidify himself as one of the best value options here in the Titan League. Mayo with control gets past one, but gets bumped, and I can't stop thinking about that bump from Luxury making that goal possible, and it just goes to show you the creativity that comes out of this Titan League.
Yeah, it's basically Rocket League is like art up here. You can do anything with the ball that you want as long as you have the mechanics to do so. And the Grandmasters obviously have the mechanics. They are leading in the shot department 7-4. So they're definitely putting on more pressure on the net. But honestly, this Dragons team is not going down without a fight here, Squirrel. And I'm honestly excited to see if they can make a comeback here in this game, too.
Absolutely. Game one, a blowout. Game two, super close. If they can't quite get it in game two, maybe game three will start the reverse sweep for the Dragons. But there's still a lot of game left to play in this one. Dragons looking better. Shadow in an awkward spot. Demo coming out, and Gallium. Demos were something you mentioned in game one. We would love to see a lot more of those coming out.
Especially me. I am the only top 15 stat that I'm a part of is demos per game. So I do love my demos, and I advocate for anybody who does chase demos, or not like particularly chase demos, but demo on occasion as Mayo. He is popping off right now, Squirrel.
Yeah, Green Glow, almost an insane double tap. Mayo sends this one behind the defense, back post, perfectly placed to tie this one up with just under a minute left, as this one looks to be a much more exciting game than that first one.
Yeah, yes, it is. And I'm honestly surprised that, as you said, I think bumps and demos are the keys. I was surprised that bump and demo didn't go out there because, honestly, the Grandmasters have been playing solid defense, along with the Dragons. Both teams have been playing some solid defense. And honestly, I think most of the Grandmasters goals have come from bumps or even just the Dragons committing too hard. And honestly, I think that's just a lack of communication as we see another double commit go out from the Dragons. Kind of a telltale sign of how the series has gone so far.
Yeah, I agree with that. The communication just not quite there. Is this one awkward?
Wow.
Luxury shoots on a net with 3 people in it, and it goes in.
What a banger coming out from Luxury, and you know what? Pay the man his money. He is definitely putting it to the Dragons right now. He's not only showed creativity, he's shown speed and shot precision. So Luxury, definitely a player to look out for if you're going against this Grandmasters team in the final 3 other games of the season. So, kudos to him for being spectacular. But another spectacular player, Mayo, meets Luxury at the net, and it is going to be a Grandmasters victory in game 2 as they are up 2-0 in the series.
That shot by Mayo was so close to send that one into overtime. And, if you're going to lose the game either way, you almost wish he wouldn't have taken it, because I feel like that just completely demoralizes and kills any momentum they had going into this next game with a shot that could have been in, but you just don't quite hit it solid enough and it gets saved. Just a terrible way to end that one, but it's looking up for the Dragons. First game blowout, second game within 1. If they're going to take any of them, it has to be this one right here, or else they're getting swept.
Yeah, I think this game number 3, obviously they have to take it, but honestly, I'm looking for the Dragons to take this game number 3 in dominant fashion. I think that's something you have to do against this Grandmasters team, who is looking absolutely hot, especially early on in the games. They've had 1-0 leads pretty early, and honestly, I think both those goals were just mistakes on the Dragons' end. So I'm really looking for the Dragons to really step it up a notch here. And honestly, I think the main reason they're losing these games is lack of communication. I feel like the double commits that go out and the overcommits are really killing them right now. And I think it's because they're nervous and they know in the back of their mind if they lose this game, it's going to be a hard climb to get to the play-ins.
Yeah, it definitely is, as this game could be it's so close in their division right now that this game could very well determine whether you make playoffs or whether you're out of the play-ins. It's that close between those spots below them, but Dragon's not going to go down without a fight here, as Mayo couldn't quite get a touch on that one. This ball awkward for Glow, but he controls it nicely. Gets a little bit of an air dribble there, as Shadow going to have full boost, full control. Gets a flip out. Can he get another touch though? No, Green Glow going to cut that off. Luxury sends that one to the middle. Gabe not quite willing to go for that one. Vulcan gets one up, going for the bump, and he hits it, returning the favor a little bit with a pump of his own.
They are definitely listening to the stream. They listened to what they needed to do, and the bump coming out from Vulcan, what an absolutely amazing play. And honestly, that's one of those bumps that you can't even be mad at.
Yeah, similar to Luxury's bump last game, that bump by Vulcan, huge. And coming out and scoring first is massive for the momentum here, as Shadow trying to get this one back. Mayo there in the midfield, cutting that one off. This ball bouncing hard. Luxury gets a good touch, but Vulcan off the corner, back to the middle. Glow gets 50'd away. Good speed here from the Dragons so far. And honestly, Gallium, I'll say that the midfield presence from the Dragons has improved a lot just in this first minute.
Yeah, I honestly, one thing I look up to about the Titan League is the midfield play is phenomenal. And the Dragons' midfield play hasn't really been apparent. They've been more, oh my goodness, playing in their zone and in the opponents. They haven't really controlled the ball in midfield, try to create opportunities from there. And now that they are doing that, they're creating more chances for themselves and limiting the amount of chances that Grandmasters can have. So honestly, good on them. And this is looking like a whole different Dragons team.
Yeah, they're definitely playing with faster speed, as Glow gets a demo, and the shot, it's off the post and out. Oh, that's a heartbreaking one, as it was so close. Vulcan sends that one up. Glow 50'd, a double commit from the Grandmasters, as it looks like they're panicking a little bit. This ball out to the middle, no shooter though. Glow 50's it for Vulcan. Vulcan low 50 into the Grandmasters corner. This ball sent away. Shadow, a great job controlling it, but Glow quick on the rotation, already back to send that one away. And another high 50 comes out, as the Dragons are just putting on so much pressure right now.
Yeah, pressure indeed. And honestly, one thing I'm looking out for the Dragons is not let those counterattacks get you. I know that's part of the Grandmasters game, is to get you with those counterattacks. And we are seeing the Grandmasters, even though they looked like they were down and out, Shadow coming in with a clutch goal.
Yeah, Gabe just getting in Vulcan's way just enough to prevent him from touching that ball. Shadow fast enough to get it around him, puts it in the corner to tie this one up, and you know, finally it feels like the Grandmasters are able to breathe.
Yeah, Grandmasters have been breathing pretty much the whole series up until the beginning of that game. It looked like a little bit of a scare coming out from the Dragons. We'll see if that can continue, and yes, it will, as Vulcan putting his second goal of the game.
Vulcan backwards with the recovery and the speed flip, just amazing speed coming out of the Titan League, and that's why he's 1750 and I'm not.
Yeah, that's basically what I can chalk down every single goal to, is that is why they're Titan League, and I'm not. The plays that they're making are something completely out of my realm, and I think out of majority of Rocket League players' realms. So, you know, kudos to them for being this crazy at car soccer. But honestly, the Dragons, I mean, completely revitalized. Honestly, I think this is a Dragons team that we were meant to see from the start, but I feel like the stream nerves kind of maybe got to them a little bit. And honestly, the communication is looking like it's definitely there. I'm seeing some much better positioning from the first man and the second man. You know, in the past games, it looked like the first man and the second man were clumped together. Now it looks like they're more spread apart. So that's definitely something to look out for as the series continues to grow.
And the first man for the Dragons just being super annoying, not letting the Grandmasters have any space. A very big difference in this game as opposed to the other ones. Luxury almost getting beat to that one, would have been a goal if he got beat to that one. Gabe controlling this one into the corner, beats one, a bump comes out past the second one. Mayo gets it around to save that one. The double tap doesn't quite go towards the goal. Luxury 50s this one out to the midfield, and you know, we talked earlier in the series about what the Dragons have to do, and you know, now the Grandmasters find themselves down. So what do they have to do to return to form and put this Dragon squad away?
The exactly what you're seeing right now. Catch the Dragons out of position as that goal almost snuck in. And I think the Dragons will slip up eventually. Every team has a little bit of a slip up, but I think it's finding that slip up and capitalizing off of it that really matters for the Grandmasters here. And honestly, with 46 seconds remaining in this game, there's not too much time, so you're going to have to find it quick.
And a unfortunate 50 almost leads to catastrophe there as 35 seconds left. The Grandmasters looking to put the pressure on this ball up. Gabe sends that one to the corner. Greenglow takes care of that one pretty easily. This ball, a wheel touch comes out. Glow can't get it past Shadow. This ball in the Grandmaster's corner, not where they want it to be with 20 seconds left. This ball up. Vulcan going for the double touch. He gets it. It puts it on net. Luxury with a save and another one. Vulcan, can he make something happen this time? Double tap. Chance. Gabe sends out away. Mayo with the shot just high. And with 1 second left, Glow going to send that bar down. And the Dragons have taken their first win of the series.
Dragons definitely made it look interesting that latter half of that match. Holy, the amount of shots they put on in those 30 seconds alone is one for the record books. And honestly, this Dragons team, if they carry this momentum going into the next game, I honestly think they'll have the reverse sweep opportunity here, Squirrel.
Yeah, the opportunity is there, and they need it. The only way they're winning the series is with a reverse sweep. And if I'll tell you, if Vulcan keeps playing like he played, it's gonna be a close series because Vulcan, being annoying at first man, bumping, scoring goals, making plays happen, not giving the Grandmasters any space. And I don't know about you, but to me it looked like it tilted them a little bit.
Yeah, it did. And honestly, he's been doing a lot of the dirty work this series, and good on him. You know, I feel like, you know, he doesn't get a whole lot of credit in the points for the work that he does, but he does it nonetheless. And I think that the work that he is doing is going to propel this Dragons team to even greater heights.
I agree to that 110% as Gabe sends that one up. Mayo, a good 50. Shadow gets just touches the ball, and Glow just takes it right from him. No one back as this ball just rolls in for an early goal.
Yep, that's the Dragons just capitalizing on an early mistake from Shadow. A mistake that you don't want to make against this very hot Dragons team. And if you're the Grandmasters or a fan of the Grandmasters, it's looking a little bit worrying for the Grandmasters at this very moment because, honestly, they're kind of looking a little helpless against this Dragon attack right now.
Yep, Mayo sends that one up high. Luxury sends it away, but Glow there to send it back. And, you know, you mentioned the Dragons attack looking good, and I think that's all because of the pressure and the positioning of their third man, just always ready to send this ball back into the Grandmasters have, and just not giving Grandmasters any space as the Dragons need this game. Mayo in the corner. Vulcan off the back wall. No one there to shoot though. Mayo gets 50. Low boost here from the Grandmasters. Gabe sends that one across. Shadow up. A demo comes out. Can this ball go in? Oh, it just sends it a little bit high, and Gabe there to clean it up and tie this ball game up.
Definitely a much needed goal, and this is the Grandmasters team that we saw in game 1 and 2. Very persistent in the offensive zone and attacked when they needed to, and it has led to a goal here, and both teams tied with 2 shots, 1 goal. It's honestly about who wants this game more, who wants this series more at this point.
Well, let me ask you, who do you think wants this one more? As, you know, Dragons kind of fighting back, making it closer and closer, finally winning one, or Grandmasters not wanting to be, oh my goodness, not wanting to be embarrassed by the 1750s and the reverse sweep?
Honestly, I'm going to have to go Grandmasters, and you said they don't want to be embarrassed by the 1750s, but I don't think that's the case at all. I feel like they want to have a solid couple games to finish out their season. Like I mentioned earlier, you know, these last couple games are still important even if you can't make the playoffs, and I think they want to make them count. And especially being on stream, you want to have a good outing, and this Grandmasters roster has had an excellent outing thus far.
They absolutely have. Is this ball in the middle? Mayo sending that one away. Shadow with boost in the ball. Gets the flip. Can't get a touch though. Vulcan out 50 there. Shadow sending that one on net. Mayo gonna have a free touch there. Sends it past Gabe. This ball up. Mayo is up as well, but can't quite get it. As Gabe just getting so many touches on this ball, confusing everybody. A good 50 finally gets that one out of the Grandmasters half. Mayo up. Mayo with the musty sends it to Glow. Glow can't quite get it. Vulcan takes the shot. It's high. Glow can't get it either. This ball 50 into the midfield. Vulcan up, sent away by Luxury as they are starved for boost right now. Shadow sends it up. Luxury redirects it on net, and a good save by Glow as a demo comes out. And finally, this game seems like it's stabilized a little bit.
Yes, it has, but honestly, I don't expect it to be stable for much longer. As this, honestly, Game 3 has shown us, and Game 4 a little bit of a glimpse of how crazy and how hectic these two teams can be when they're firing on all cylinders. And honestly, the Dragons were firing on all cylinders there, and I expect that more in the future. As they're going for clips, Mayo. Oh my goodness, he almost had it, but this Dragon team looking a little dangerous for these Grandmasters right now.
Mayo almost got the 50 ricochet double touch. That was almost crazy. As Shadow, a good flip reset there, continues that play. Gabe to the corner. Vulcan finally gets this one out. He's got boost to follow it. No boost for Shadow in the backfield. The double touch can't come out. The shot just wide as this ball lofts up high. Oh, man, all he had to
Oh.
do was put it on net, and he couldn't quite do that. Luxury, good control there. Vulcan sends this one off the sidewall. Does he double that? He does, but not quite the touch he wanted, as this ball sent way wide, almost
Oh.
an own goal from Vulcan, but the save as Luxury pops this one back, and with 45 seconds left, tie ball game. The pressure is mounting for the Dragons. They need to get this one out, and they do. Oh man, if this one goes to OT, who do you think that favors?
Honestly, I think with the offensive pressure that the Dragons have put out and the sustainability of the Grandmasters, I think the Grandmasters are going to crack a little bit. I think the Dragons are going to score in overtime if it even goes into overtime. But honestly, one thing that I am seeing as the clock winds down is the amount of free balls people are getting and, having space. And I think that's going to play a factor.
Yeah, no one wants to make a mistake when it's this
Oh!
close to the game's on
Oh!
the line, and Luxury, the hook shot to put them up.
What a shot. I saw him speeding in. I was like, there's no way he makes this. And obviously he makes it. It's Luxury, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to put that top bins a 2-1 lead. And honestly, I think this, before I even see the other games, is probably the game of the night. Going to be the game of the night as Mayo off the back wall can't quite get it. Vulcan going to try to make a touch. And, this Dragons team, they came a long way, but unfortunately cannot get it done. And the Grandmasters prevail.
They do. They showed up, they showed out, and they came ready to play, and play they did as the 3-11 team moves on to 4-11. Still no shot of the postseason, but they might have possibly played spoiler for the Dragons and their Cinderella story here. As the Dragons had plenty of shining moments, but Grandmasters and Luxury, Shadow, Gabe, just a stellar team. And it just goes to show you how good the Titan League is, that a team that good isn't going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane the skill gap between the different leagues. But that matchup that we just saw there is basically a demonstration of the will of both those teams. And I think the Grandmasters wanted it more. And congratulations to the Grandmasters for pulling off that victory. Obviously, the Dragons playoff slash play in implications are looking a little grim right now. But I think they're able to bounce back, and honestly, with that roster that they have and the amount of offensive pressure that they showed, and all around, just the amount of quickness and really a toughness that I saw from this Dragons team, I think it's going to carry them to, as I said before, even greater heights if they harness it to the best of their abilities here, Squirrel.
Absolutely, and the fact that they went down 2-0 and then were able to fight back and make it closer and closer each time just shows the amount of guts that they have. And I'm going to agree with you. I think that might have been the match of the night, but we do have two stellar matches coming up. We have Flurry versus Origin, both teams 5-9, and then at 9:30 we have Kiwis versus Wisps, 13-1 for both of those rosters, and I think both of those are going to be excited. And if you had to pick between those two, uh, which one are you like watching more?
As a former novice league player, I'm gonna have to go with the novice league match. The Kiwis have looked phenomenal. They actually got rid of their star player. It seems Dre. They gave him right to the Wisps, and that happens to be who they're playing tonight. So a little exciting, honestly. Both 13-1 teams, roster changes benefiting each side. So we'll see how that one plays out. But honestly, I just want to say thank you, Squirrel, for making my first cast of the week a really good one. And you're a great play by play man, and I really look up to you, Squirrel. So thank you very much.
I appreciate it, and thank you for making my first time in the booth this season an enjoyable one. And shout out to Kripp for being the streamer, making this all possible. Thank you all for watching that first match of the night. Stay tuned because we have two more exciting matches underway for everyone. Please, please, please join us back. The next match is starting at 8:45, as we got some amazing matches, some amazing casters lined up, and all around just going to be good fun as we look to head towards the end of the season here in a few weeks. Thank y'all, and we'll catch y'all in a little bit.